Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to continue on our proportions talk, but now we are going to be using proportions to find a percentage of a number. Okay, so our objective for today is I will be able to find a percent of a number. Okay, so we have two ways that we need to know how to do this. You need to know how to use both ways, but you can choose which way you like better in a little bit after we learn how to use both. So way number one is to set up a proportion. Now at this point, we are going to be making a foldable at your own pace. So at this point, I need you to come and pick up a half sheet of paper and fold it into thirds. Now, if you're unsure how to fold it or these steps don't make sense, please come and see me. I will be happy to talk and help you through this step right here. All right, so you're going to take this half sheet of paper and you're going to fold it into thirds. Now you're only going to be folding that left flap in. The right flap will always be staying open. All right, so on the outside of the flap, on the outside when it's closed, you're going to be writing is over of equals to percent over 100. Okay, and then once you open up that flap, you're going to write part over whole, and then it'll already say percent over 100. This is just a little saying that we're going to use to be able to make sense of these word problems that we are going to be solving. Okay, so is over of equals percent over 100. This is a very important thing for us to remember and to memorize to help us solve these problems. Alright, so this way number one, we are wondering what is 30% of 1475? What is 30% of 1475? Okay, so we're going to fill in this is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, so what is 30% of 1475? Okay, so what is? Well, we don't know. What is? So is, we're not sure yet, so that's our x. 30% of, so whatever's after of is 1475. Equals percent, so just drop that percent sign over 100. So another way to think about it is we don't know what 30% of a number is. So 30%, so what is x of 1475 is equal to, and then 30 over 100 is how you write 30% as a fraction. Alright, so from this point on, we know exactly what to do because we are becoming pros at solving these proportions. We're going to cross multiply. So we have x times 100. Ooh, and that was not very good with my pen, I apologize. So we have 100 times x, 100x is equal to, because we're done, 1475 times 30. So 1475 times 30 is 400, 442.50. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 100. Divide both sides by 100 to get x all by itself, so x is equal to 4.425. So 30% of 1475 is 4.425. So another way to think of it is 30% of something. We want to know if we chunked it up into percentages, 30% of a whole, part of a whole, is equal to 4.425. Okay, so let's look at the same problem, but do it a different way. So way number two, set up an equation. So the other way that we can do it is to set up an equation. So step one, change the percent to a decimal by moving the decimal point over 2 places, which as you guys should know by now that is just a shortcut for dividing 100. Dividing 100. Dividing 100. Okay, so change the percent into a decimal. So 30% is equal to 0.30. Okay? Step 2, multiply that decimal by the number you're finding the percentage of. So we're saying 0.30 times 1475. Alright, so 0.3 times 1475 is the same thing that we got before, 4.425. Okay, some of you might like this one better because it seems faster. Either way, it's the same thing, same steps, same process, or slightly different process, but it gets the same answer. All right, so let's look at the example. What is 5% of 70? We're going to do both ways. So 5% of 70. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up the proportion. So what is 5% of 70? So what is, we don't know what is because it's asking what is 5% of 70 and 5 over 100. So x over 70 is equal to 5 over 100. X times 100 is 100x is equal to 70 times 5. Well, we know 7 times 5 is 35, and then add that 0. Going to divide by 100 both sides to get that x by itself. So when we do that, x is equal to 3.5. Okay, we could do that in our heads because we just simply move the decimal point over 2 places because we know that that's a shortcut from dividing by 100. Okay, our second way that we're going to use the same exact thing is just figure out the equation. So step 1, so remember step 1 is to get 5% to equal to a decimal. So 5% to equal a decimal is 0.05 because you're going to move that decimal place over 2 places, so 0.05. And then step 2, take that number 0.05 and multiply it by the number that we're finding there. So 0.05 times 70 is equal to 3.5. Alright, so that's just a little quick how-to intro on how to find a percent of a number. Okay, so don't forget to ask your 2 questions at the end, or right now. Write down 2 questions, and thank you for actively listening, and I will see you guys in a bit.